So here we are. I made a video yesterday. Technically yesterday. It's like 12:30 at night over here in Arizona right now. But I'm literally about to go to bed. Got a Facebook notification. Actually, a couple notifications from people being like, "Eggman, what have you done?" And apparently, I've helped create the restricted card list for the English version of the One Piece card game. Jokes aside, I'm really happy I made that video yesterday instead of dropping it Friday. I promise I have no special stuff with Bandai, but there have been so many times where I've made videos like that and I don't do them often, and then they drop either when the video goes the list goes live and they're like timed and then they're immediately outdated, or like the day before. So I guess this was a lucky one, but in general, there's a restriction list for the English version of the One Piece card game. We're going to look at the cards. Two of them I've talked about. The third one I thought was okay, but I guess they did not. In general, these cards are going to be restricted on July 28th, which means that it will be our first one will be the Core TCG Webcam Regionals, which is the 29th of July, which is pretty cool. Also, I'm doing a box tournament on Tuesday. I'm probably going to make it doing these new restrictions too. If you guys haven't checked that out, check the description for that. But let's just jump on into it. July 28th. These are when these go live, and let's jump to first one. Edward Newgate. People said they want Newgate to get banned, and they limited this guy to one. Right? He's very, very strong. Obviously, can't have more than one. I don't know how I feel about this one. This was not a card that I talked about. He obviously is a very strong card, but he also is restricted by the thought that he is a 9 cost and kind of how he works for this. But I'm just going to read their explanation up front. So when this card is combined with Newgate or Zoro, durability, then everything else affords this substantial advantage against their opponent. Furthermore, using this card with Radical Beam and Guard Point enhances durability even further. In addition, the introduction of Izo made it possible to replicate the situation with high degree of probability. Due to the above, the card has a high usage and win rate in tournaments determined that it impedes the offensive and defensive tactics that are central to the enjoyment of the One Piece card game. As a result, we decided to designate this card as restricted to 1. And they have this thing right here. This is for all the cards, but essentially that these may be lifted as of OP04, but we'll see. And it's only for the English version. This is our own different ban list. So Japan, Asia, everywhere else does not do that. So this is everywhere outside of Asia, essentially. So very interesting thing. I don't know how I feel about this one but this was not a card I talked about again in my own video yesterday, but I get it. I get why they would want this card to be like it. He is very strong. I'm not going to deny this. There's just so many situations where you play this and then you get another turn, you're in a good spot. But I do think like a lot of Newgate lists really do depend on seeing this guy, and so having like a Saki one of in Newgate might just be kind of rough for it. But I don't know. We'll see what he looks like. Obviously Zoro is strong with it, but there's a lot of Zoro decks that don't run this either. So I don't think it's a necessary debuff to Zoro as much as definitely just a really targeted hit for Newgate as well. So there we go there. Next up we have Marco. So Marco, this is the blocker one. Obviously there's 2, but when this card is combined with Newgate and Zoro on KO, just pretty much the same thing. I think it's pretty much the same thing for all of these, but just decided to put this guy to 1. So that's fine, I guess. He is really obnoxious in a lot of ways too. So I wanted him to have his effect to go off a little bit less, and I guess if you put the card to 1 copy, that's going to guarantee that. Obviously, it's still searchable. You definitely run this card if you're playing the Whitebeard Pirates, and I think the card is strong. I don't know if limiting was the case for this. Obviously it doesn't look like they want to do any like erratas to help fix cards, so they just want to say this is how you can use the card. Go from there. But interesting choice for this one. He is just like being able to like live forever, and then being able to just if you're able to get to your one more turn, you can offensively turn for him. So having to play against 2 is kind of rough too. But there we go. Here he is. And then lastly, we have Radical Beam. So this is the one that I actually did say limit to 1 makes the most sense. I think it's for a card like this, especially since we have like cards like Guard Point. Like this is just a better version of Guard Point a lot of the time. So I think it's great. It's that this card's at 1 in a lot of ways. Being able to just curb the defensive prowess for some of these decks. But in general, these are all kind of Newgate cards that got hit, which I'm not going to deny that Newgate is one of the stronger ones, but I would have liked to see a little bit more targeted for Zoro, especially since there are definitely Zoro builds that do very, very well. A lot of the more aggressive builds that don't play any of these 3 cards, which is kind of rough. So we'll have to see how this kind of develops in the next couple weeks. Obviously, if we're talking about winners and losers, it's just pretty much every deck that's not red. I think Trafalgar Law also kind of won from this because maybe some of its harder matchups kind of got a little bit worse. Like Marco had a lot of sustainability in a lot of matchups too. So I think that's something to kind of dictate there. But yeah, I don't know, like just aggressive decks I think are going to be a little bit stronger because I think Newgate was kind of like the mid-range leader and mid-range deck in a lot of ways too. So I don't really have much more to say. Again, it's very, very shocking for the timing. Yeah, these are, and the rest are just the banned cards there. So, but yeah, when I made my video, I wasn't expecting it to have any consequences, and I don't think it did. They probably made this decision like a week ago and they published it Friday. So I don't think my video had any actual impact for the decisions making, especially since they kind of ignored 2 like the only card like we are on the same wavelength was for Radical Beam. But really, really interesting. I'm going to probably do some more testing, see what I think is going on. We have a locals today, technically in like 20 hours. So maybe we'll do with the restriction list. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I think aggro Zoro is just going to be eating very pretty for this because if Newgate's not as good anymore, then that deck's going to be very, really good. So that's my almost bedtime, almost 1 a.m. thoughts on this. We'll see if I wake up in the morning and if I agree with that still. But yeah, this is kind of unprecedented, which is kind of cool. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. I've been rambling for quite a bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know what you guys think about these changes. I think they're okay. Again, I would have really liked to see an errata for the Zoro leader for something, or something that just kind of affects it a little bit more. Because Radical Beam being gone just means you're not like running the event card version anymore with buggies, but I don't know, like the non-event guard version is going to be in a good spot. So anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out for some more content with the release of new tournaments and reports with all these cards restricted. And that's going to be it for me. So again, thank you and see you guys next time.